Okay, so let's get to my first point on how to have a mentally safe household. Very important is don't compare. So this could be, for example, statements like to your spouse, why can't you be more like Julie's husband? Or to your child, why can't you be more like your brother or more like your sister? This really puts someone down a lot. It can really affect their confidence. So never ever compare, no matter the situation. Number 2, no shaming as well. It's quite closely linked to the first one. So shaming statements could be, you never do anything right. Now that makes someone really nervous, and even if, for example, they were trying to do something right, but because of maybe what you said, it makes them all nervous and they end up doing something wrong. So I have my own example of this as an adult when I had a job as a PA working for someone very important. And I remember one day he wanted to set up a really important telephone conference, and it was the first one that I was doing. And then he said to me, he wasn't horrible or anything, but he said to me, Chris, make sure you do not mess this up. And just that statement alone really made me nervous. And you can guess what happened. I managed to eventually get everyone on the line. And then I put the phone down because I thought that's what you're supposed to do once you've set everyone up, not kind of remembering that I was the one that actually called everyone, so I couldn't put the phone down. I messed up the whole conference. My boss was really upset with me, but just because he said, don't mess it up, that already made me nervous. So imagine when you say to someone, oh, you always do this wrong, or you're always messing up, or you're always doing things wrong. That will just make them make mistakes because they're feeling not very good about themselves. My third point is to make sure you apologize if you've upset someone. So don't think, for example, that you'll lose respect by apologizing to your child. So maybe there are parents that think, well, I'm not going to apologize to my child. They're only little. Why should I say sorry? They won't respect me if I apologize to them. Well, actually, they will respect you because children can sometimes be quite resentful of parents later on in life because their parents never actually apologized for things when they were younger, or it felt like their feelings were dismissed and that parents would upset them but then not say anything to kind of make things right. And sometimes you might think, oh, a kiss and a cuddle is enough. Well, actually just saying sorry, because it teaches them also how to treat other people and how to be in relationships as well. So it's never ever a bad thing to apologize for making a mistake, no matter how young a person is. The next one is to respect differences. So you really need to treat everyone as individuals. Even if you are the parent of twins, those twins could be completely different to one another in terms of the way they see things, the way they feel about things. Maybe one would be more emotional than the other one. You can't expect everyone to think the same way as each other, or to have the same feelings about things as you do. You need to really understand that everyone is an individual, and you need to respect that. You can't just say one's better than the other, or the one's opinion is better than the other because they're different. It doesn't work that way. And actually, if you have these kind of issues at home, how do you see things outside as well? I mean, if you take a workplace, for example, normally you would respect people's differences at work because, you have to get along with everyone and you've got a job to do and you don't want to lose your job. So you kind of make that, it seems like you make that extra effort outside of the home, but you should make that same effort within the home even more, I would say, because these are the people that you love and you're supposed to be sharing a house with. So you need to make even more effort to respect differences at home as well. The next one, which actually links to this one, is to ask everyone's opinion. So if there is a major decision that has to be made, or there's something going on, there's some kind of family troubles, and it's something that the kids are involved in, for example, ask what people's opinion about things. Say, for example, it's moving house or moving to another area or another country even. Just ask how everyone feels. Of course, you're not gonna, your 5-year-old, if you ask your 5-year-old, oh, where do you want to live? They're probably gonna say Disneyland or something. Of course, you're not gonna go with that, but at least ask, how do you feel about moving? How do you feel about going to another country? Even if they're dead against it, but at least you know how they feel, and then you can kind of talk to them and explain, the reasons why you're moving, for example. So you can't sort of just make decisions and not inform anyone in the house and just expect everyone to go with it, because that could really affect someone's confidence and actually make them feel that they're not really worth much because they weren't consulted about anything. So very, very important to actually have family meetings and discuss things openly. There might be things, concerns that your children or your partner has that you never even thought of, it never crossed your mind. So always very important to communicate. And the next one is to respect boundaries as well. So for example, if your partner or even your child needs space and, for example, doesn't want a hug at that particular moment, don't force them. You know, it's not anything against you, but again, everyone is different and they have their own boundaries. Maybe, you know, I know, for example, when I was growing up and going through puberty and things like that, I didn't want my dad anywhere near me for some reason. I didn't want his hugs or his kisses or anything, because I just felt yucky. I felt like I was going through all these changes and I was probably the typical moody teenager, but that wasn't anything about him, it was the things that I was going through. So just see, sometimes your child might not want a hug, maybe your partner's had a bad day and they just want to kind of clear their mind and not think about anything or not talk about anything. Just make sure you give each other space as well. And if you see that, you know, someone wants to be on their own, respect that and let them get on with it, and then they'll come back to you and, you know, the house will be a much calmer place if everyone actually respects boundaries, and it will just be a lot nicer environment at home, I would say. Well everyone, I hope those tips have helped you.